the main thing that inspired me. I used to write a lot. I used to enact like a teacher. Our first motto was to make them come happy to school. Half an hour, 9 to 9:30, is what I've given them. Is just physical exercise. So they'll be all with their different zones that we have kept in our school. They are either in a sandpit, they are either in a traffic park.
The early years of a child's lives are the most important and influential. They shape what we believe, how we think, and who we will become. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Seema Chhoriya, and I welcome you all to a brand new episode on Great Principles. Joining me in conversation is my very thoughtful educator of the day, inspired by her mother. We have with us Mrs. Sheba Thapar. She is Director Principal of Sacred Heart Experiential Learning School, Gurugram. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. We are very honored to have you with us today.
Thank you, Ms. Seema, for the opportunity to be a part of Great Principal session.
It's wonderful. So it's Sacred Step Experiential Learning School. So I'm very sorry for if I didn't announce it correctly. So welcome, ma'am, and let us unveil about you. So we already know that the inspiration behind joining education was your mother, but still we would like to know more. So take us back to your once upon a time, how it all started, how education sector attracted you, and what keeps you glued in this domain. Also, we would love to know your vision for the students.
Great, thank you so much. So this had been a very, very, important question for me because it was all in the family because my mother was a principal, and when I was young, I used to see her, wearing a sari and packing her bag and coming with, bundles of papers. At that time, it was more of talk and talk methodology where, the teachers used to carry their set of bundles to check, and if they didn't had sufficient time, because the school timings were also very less at that time, it was till 1:30, and post that, they used to come home and they used to do all the household work, unlike in today's time where teacher role is very, very crucial, and there's so much of, there's so many things that they need to cater to in a school. So the timings are also in, more number of hours they have to devote for the schoolwork. So it was all in the family. I could see that, my mom is a role model, and she had been there. When I was young, I used to see her and I used to help her, in the totaling of marks and the checking. And sometimes, I used to dress up with a little dupatta because I was very small at that time. I used to wrap it like a sari, and then kind of, you know, one cupboard I used to have, which was brown in color, and I used to tell my mother to get chalks for me. And I used to write it on that cupboard because I never used to, have that chalkboard. So that cupboard was the main thing that inspired me. I used to write a lot. I used to enact like a teacher, and I was a pass out from Queen Mary's, where I used to see the teachers. They used to come, how they used to walk, they used to talk. So all those things were imbibed right from the initial, when I was very young, and so that's how it was. And then later on, of course, she guided me to take up the proficiency in B.Ed and the other MSc in maths that I did. But to wrap it all, I think I must say that the kind of profession that I've joined is, I'm very happy dealing with the young lives. Young children makes you all very happy because, the nature of a person, I think, is directly proportional to the job and the, the profile that the person is in. Now, handling very, very small children, when they are coming to school, they're always smiling. They're sharing with you everything. They are sharing with you everything that they see in their own family. Sometimes they share with me that my mom tell me this, my mother had discussed this with my father. So all those inside stories of the houses are out, and it is so refreshing to see them. They are all full of energy. They are all so nice to see them. So I think that is what has made my nature also to be very much energetic, to be very happy with them, to be interactive, to be physically very active. I think the most important thing to deal with children, you need to be very much physically active, because then they want you to be there always when they are hopping, jumping, and doing any kind of physical work. I think overall it had been a very good choice for me to take up this profession. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great to know about your journey. And I think surrounded by young children keeps you young always, also. And just look at you. You are just brimming with the glow. And this is what is the charm of the young kids. They bring so much joy from within. And you rightly said, when you enjoy your work, then you find the real joy. So great experiences, and I think we all must practice this. Whatever profession we are in, we must enjoy this. And if we get the opportunity to be surrounded by kids, there is nothing like that. So it was great to know. Moving ahead to our next question, that is the rapid fire round. So here, ma'am, I'll be just revealing some fun facts about you too. So you need to answer me in one word or a sentence. Okay. So here comes my very first question to you. What you do in your recreational time?
Oh, I love to play piano.
Okay. All right. What is one thing about you that most people do not know?
Oh, I'm good in singing. I'm a good
Okay,
singer.
so we have wow. So we have someone who can play and sing as well. That's a beautiful combination. Wow. All right, moving ahead to my next question. If not in teacher, what would be the other career choice you would have made?
Oh, an air hostess.
Air hostess. All right, so ma'am likes to fly also and keep herself more productive. Wonderful. All right. What was the one skill that you acquired during pandemic?
Oh, cooking.
Great. So pandemic did help us, many of us, to know what all other skills we do have. So wonderful. So ma'am also have now learned cooking also in pandemic. So she is now a great cook also. Moving ahead to my next question. What are the physical activities you indulge in to keep yourself fit and healthy?
Oh, morning gymming. Very important. When you started, you are on your own. It's like my me and my own time. So I think that's very important as a stress buster. Also, you get to meet people also there, and then you kind of have your own silence mode. You all have your own me time, meditation time that you have to spend on your own. I think the morning activity is very. That is what I do.
Very rightly said. This is very much needed, and especially for we females, we have so many other responsibility along with work that we always try to cut down on me time. So very rightly said, focus on that. That is very much essential, and that what keeps her healthy also. Moving ahead to my next question. What is your advice for our parents to keep our children's health in mind?
I think the most important thing is, as far as the health is concerned, I think these days parents don't have time. So they are all relying on the health at home. I think it's very important to monitor that what the children are eating, even if the parent is working and they are not there, physically present at home. It's very important to plan a menu for the child, what the child is eating at home. That is one, and of course to monitor and take a feedback on whatever the activities of the child are. It's very important to even focus on. Now there are so many mediums that we can connect with the child. So unlike in the past, so it's very important to have that connectivity. Of course, when they are at home, it's very important to switch off the mobile mode because it's very important to give some time to their child. I think that is what is a major hazard in today's time, that we're all occupied, we're all busy with the mobiles. So I think that is the only advice that I should give to the parent, to just switch off at least 1 hour to spend the child with the child, with that time.
Yeah, that gadget free zone time is required in the house also. There should be no gadget policy at some point of a time at home. So that's a wonderful tip. Moving ahead to my last question in this segment. Your favorite travel destination is
Venice.
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 Wow, wonderful. Great. So it was very interesting to know you in this segment. We got to know some fun facts about MAM. Now we have reached to the last question of the show, which is called the expert talk question. So talking about the expert talk and a major impact of that, because many parents withdrew the admissions, many started thinking whether we should take it or not, and children were sitting in the houses. So now post pandemic, how do you make these children settle in the school? What about the emotional health? They were used to be in the comfort of their mom's nest. So what would be the right way to do it, and how should one approach towards it?
It is a very important question, and I feel that very much prevalent. I'm sure all the preschoolers and all the schools, especially where there are pre-primary children, would be dealing with this kind of a major challenge when it comes to joining back of these small children, because I think it's the only session in the entire history where uh, pre-nursery, nursery, KG, grade 1 to these are the very important formative years. Children need to be settled in one go, because 2 years they were all shut at their home fronts. So it was a big challenge for us also. So what I did in my school was to prepone their joining. So first and the most important was that, if the session was starting in April, I made them join in February, so that the crowd which has joined February, and that too was also in a staggered mode where, one class was made to join and then the others. So it was easy for teachers also to manage them in those, small groups, so that, they don't have to deal with the entire mass of so many children in one go. Otherwise everybody, was having the separation anxiety, and more so that anxiety was there with the parent. So because parents were also, there with the children for 2 years, so they were totally clinging on to them. All kind of things, gadgets were given to the children. It was very tough for schools to manage those, challenges which were there. So what I did was that, of course, when they were coming in small groups, the teachers were more focused in making them first to settle, because our first motto was to make them come happy to school. That was the main thing. So in my school, what I've done is there's a play zone. So that was a major support to settle these children, because once they were there in the play zone, then gradually we made them sit on a chair. Initially it was all low seating, because they were all at their homefronts. They were not at all in a mode to sit on a chair, because at homes also they were on the bed, they were lounging down. So we had to make them physically also very very active, because they were all shut at their home fronts, so that physical activity was also not there. So they had lacked the stamina. So half an hour, 9 to 9:30, is what I've given them, is just physical exercise. So they'll be all with their different zones that we have kept in our school. They are either in a sandpit, they are either in a traffic park, they are either. So it's all activity based, experiential activity based activities. Like there's so many activities that we have incorporated in our school, with around 25 of them that we are doing. So right from there, and we have a timetable. There's a proper timetable to follow. Unlike in the other preschools where they just they just deal with what the child has to do, eating, feeding. So it's a proper schedule, because unless and until you train the teachers that this is a schedule need to be followed, then perhaps they won't be able to do so. So there's a proper schedule that these teachers follow. Half an hour of physical activity after, when just they enter the school. So 9 to 9:30 is what the physical activities are doing. Then we have the assembly time. So assembly time is more of rhyme time and the general prayer time that we have given to that. Of course, for settling, we have specially have the magic cave, which is a play zone that we have. Storytelling, theater, puppets, all these are a part of these settling activities. And one thing, settling, basically what we do is the children who are, like, if the child has joined today, so we've taken 3 days of their early dispersal. So we do not keep them for 3 hours. However, the school timings are 3 hours. But those children who are joining for the first time, we ensure that these children are coming for only 2 hours, where they have a fun and frolic day. They come, eat, they play with toys, and then they go away. I think this has helped a lot in the settling. And that is what I would like to guide also, that for the settling, I think that is very important to know what the child interest is like also. So we ask when the admission is taken, what is the child like to do, what is his interest areas. Is he like stories, does he like the toys? Whatever that he likes, we jot it down, and the teacher is also been briefed about it. So that is very important, that one-on-one connectivity with the child. We keep the things ready before the child lands in the school. We give them a sharing, that report. Most of the parents, they feel that the child is unable to eat on their own. But they should understand that, peer learning is something which is very important here. When the child comes, it's very important that they look at the other child, and then they enact, and then they do the same thing. So that is very important, and that is what we are, having a mix and match of both settled children and the unsettled in the same batch. That is what we are doing.
Okay. Absolutely, ma'am. So I think this is the only way that things can be, just step by step. First, let them play, let them settle, take them to the classes, give them a little more of it, and then one by one, the child get used to the schedule, and then he starts following. So this is what we should do as parents do at home. Also, we should not just expect everything that overnight child will learn. So step by step, the child learns at both the ends. And to all my dear viewers, never ignore the importance of preschools. Preschools does wonderful job. They not only prepare the child for the mainstream school, they work as a feeder school also. So the child knows what it means to stay away from parents. The anxiety is less, they are more of settled. And I've seen this difference when I dropped my child to the school. I can see which child is coming from a preschool and which is not, because the others are completely unaware of the concept of schooling itself. So it builds a foundation and ensure that your child is settled very well. So thank you so much, Sheba ma'am, today for sharing your thoughts and vision with us. It was a wonderful, delightful conversation. We learned a lot, and it's not easy because dealing with these children who just having two at home, we go crazy, and there are so many out there whom you people look after. You're doing a fabulous job, and thank you so much for sharing your strategies with us today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be connected. Thank you, Miss Seema. Thank you.